Hey super friends, my name is Neil and today we are recapping the first season of Prime Video and Paramount Plus's Star Trek Picard. Now we're doing this because it's just been confirmed that Season 2 will return to US audiences on Thursday, March the 3rd and will arrive back here in the UK via Prime Video on Friday, March the 4th. If you like this video, then make sure to hit the thumbs up and why not head over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. You can also ding that bell so that you can be notified whenever we release brand new videos just like this one. So without further ado, let's dive into Star Trek Picard Season 1. Picking up in the year 2399, former Starfleet Admiral Jean-Luc Picard now lives alone on his family's vineyard in France. Through an interview, we learn that Picard cut ties with the Federation after they abandoned a mission to help evacuate the Romulan homeworld before it was destroyed. As the evacuation was underway, a group of rogue synthetic beings attacked the Federation's Utopia Planitia shipyard on Mars. The attack forced the Federation to take drastic action and a ban on all synthetic life was introduced. Meanwhile, a young woman named Dahj is attacked in her home by a group of unknown assassins. During the attack, Dahj unlocks some near-superhuman abilities and is able to subdue her attackers. Fleeing on her own, Dahj experiences visions of Picard and travels to France to meet with him. After she disappears during the night, Picard visits Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco. Searching in his personal archive, Picard finds a painting created by his old friend Lieutenant Commander Data. Searching in his personal archive, Picard comes across a painting that was made by Data back in the days of the USS Enterprise. The painting seems to depict Dahj herself and is called Daughter. Searching for more information, Picard visits the Daystrom Institute in Okinawa where he meets with a Dr. Agnes Jurati. Dr. Jurati explains that Dahj could have been created using a single neuron left behind from Data's positronic matrix using a brand new process called fractal neuronic cloning. This process results in the creation of twin synthetics. Dahj has a sister. Dahj's twin sister, Soji, works aboard an abandoned Borg cube which has been reclaimed by the Romulans. Now known as the Artifact, the Romulans work to excavate the cube and experiment on the former drones within it. Soji meets and begins a relationship with a Romulan operative named Narek, and we learn that the Artifact is being run by the former Borg drone Hugh. Back on Earth, Picard and his Romulan housekeeper Laris visit Dahj's apartment to search for clues. Laris believes the attacks to be the work of the Zhat Vash, a Romulan secret police whose purpose is to wipe out all synthetic life across the galaxy. Despite being diagnosed with a terminal illness, Picard requests the use of a Starfleet vessel to travel off-world in search of Soji. His requests are denied and he goes in search of an old colleague, Raffi, who may be able to help him. We learn that Raffi and Picard had a close relationship before the attack on Mars. When Picard decided to resign from the Federation, Raffi was unceremoniously fired from Starfleet, but her refusal to give up on the conspiracy theory that Romulans were behind the attacks left her separated from her family. Separately, we learn that Starfleet Security Chief Commodore O is secretly a Romulan. At some point in the recent past, the Zhat Vash has infiltrated Starfleet at its highest levels in order to further their mission. O is working with Naressa, the sister of Narek, and O sends Naressa to the Artifact to check up on her brother and his secret mission to get closer to Soji. Raffi sets Picard up with a ship known as La Sirena and its captain, Chris Rios. Along with Raffi, Rios and Dr. Jurati, Picard is able to get off-world and begin his search. Raffi has tracked Bruce Maddox, the inventor of the fractal neuronic cloning method and also the creator of Dahj and Soji, to the planet of Freecloud. Before arriving at Freecloud, Picard demands that they stop at the planet Vashti. Vashti was the planet chosen by the Federation to settle the Romulan survivors. In the past, Picard was a hero to these people, but now in the present day he's merely the man who abandoned them. Picard travels to meet a group of Kuat Milot nuns with whom he held a close relationship during the rescue efforts. Here he is reunited with a young man by the name of Elnor. In the past we see that Picard had rescued Elnor and the two were very close. In the present day the two are very distant and Elnor harbours a lot of angst towards Picard for having what he sees as abandoned the Romulan people here. Ultimately, Elnor chooses to bind himself to Picard's mission and travels with them on La Sirena, heading for Freecloud. Whilst awaiting the return of Picard, La Sirena is attacked by a local Romulan warlord. Rios and Raffi are assisted in their battle by a member of the Fenris Rangers, a group of freedom fighters who patrol the local system. Together they fend off the Romulans, but the Ranger ship is badly damaged. At the last second, they're able to transport the pilot from the Ranger ship onto La Sirena, and we learn that it's none other than Star Trek Voyager 7 of 9. On the Artifact, Soji searches for information about a Romulan prophecy which references the Destroyer. Narek offers to help, getting closer to Soji in the process. Narissa is upset and questions whether Narek has begun developing real feelings for Soji, and a run-in with a former Borg drone known as Ramdar leads Soji to being singled out as this prophesized Destroyer of Worlds. La Sirena arrives at Freecloud, where Picard and the crew come up with a plan for a prisoner exchange. They intend to offer 7 of 9 as bait to a local people trafficker known as Bjayzl in return for Bruce Maddox. The prisoner exchange goes wrong when it's discovered that Bjayzl was actually a trafficker of Borg parts on the black market, and that sometime in the recent past she had kidnapped a character by the name of Ichep, who you all remember from Star Trek Voyager, and had murdered him in order to take his parts to sell on the black market. Meanwhile, Raffi tracks her son to a local medical facility where he's attending an appointment with his heavily pregnant wife. He refuses to rekindle his relationship with his mother based on the fact that he sees she still will not let go of this conspiracy that Romulans have infiltrated Starfleet. The crew rescues an injured Bruce Maddox and gets him aboard La Sirena for treatment, but he's later killed by Dr. Jurati, acting on the orders of Commodore O. We learn that Agnes was shown a disastrous vision of the future by O, leading her to decide to help the Romulan regime. Jurati has also swallowed a tracker which allows O and the Romulans to follow La Sirena wherever it travels. Picard and Seven share an emotional moment lamenting that both had formerly been assimilated by the Borg. Seven leaves La Sirena claiming that she's returning to her fellow Fenris Rangers, but instead Seven beams down to Freecloud and kills Bjayzl, and there is a firefight as she blasts her way out of Bjayzl's facility. Narek learns that Soji has a recurring nightmare which he believes might be the answer to finding her homeworld, the world where Maddox had fled during the synthetic ban to be able to continue his work on creating synthetic life. He experiments on Soji and gets the information he needs before attempting to kill her. She escapes Narek and immediately meets with Picard, who has recently arrived at the artifact. The two, along with Elnor and Hugh, battle the Romulan forces and make their way to the Borg Queen's chamber deep within the artifact. Using Borg technology held within that chamber, Picard and Soji escape the cube and arrive on a planet known as Nepenthe. Rios and La Sirena make a hasty retreat and head towards Nepenthe as well to reconvene with Picard, but Narek uses the signal from Jurati's tracker to follow them. Realising this fact, Dr. Jurati injects herself with a deadly toxin which should help to disable the tracker, risking her life in the process. On Nepenthe, Picard reunites with his former First Officer William Riker and his wife Deanna Troi. We also meet their daughter Kestra and learn that they moved to Nepenthe with their terminally ill son Thad. Kestra and Soji bond, helping Soji to accept the fact that her life up to this point has all been a fabrication. Kestra tells Soji stories of Data and the adventures of the Enterprise, helping Soji to learn to trust Picard. They shelter Picard and Soji whilst they wait for La Sirena to arrive, and at the same time they're also able to identify the planet where Soji was first created. Picard and Soji's arrival on La Sirena triggers a crisis for Rios. Talking with Raffi, we learn that he left Starfleet after his captain murdered 2 people aboard their former vessel. One of the captain's 2 victims was identical to Soji, and Rios realises that these were people from a planet of synthetics, ordered to be put to death by the Romulans who had infiltrated Starfleet. This activates memories for Soji, and the crew puts together the pieces of the Romulan puzzle. Years ago, a group of Romulan Jatvash operatives witnessed the prophecy that synthetic life would bring about the destruction of all non-synthetic life within the galaxy. The Romulans infiltrated Starfleet and worked from within to sabotage the Utopia Planitia shipyard, forcing the ban on synthetic life to come into effect. Knowing that Maddox had disappeared to continue his work, the Romulans remained within Starfleet and spent decades trying to seek him out in order to further their mission. Elnor and Hugh, still under siege on the artifact, reach out to the Fenris Rangers for help, and are joined, of course, by 7 of 9. Though Hugh is killed during the fight, 7 and Elnor are able to save the ship and its drones by reconnecting 7 to the Borg Collective. Soji takes command of La Sirena and uses a Borg transwarp conduit to fly the ship to her homeworld Coppelius. There they find a community of synthetic life, which is being overseen by the son of Dr. Noonien Sung, Data's original creator. Both La Sirena and the artifact crash on Coppelius, reuniting Picard, Elnor and 7. Picard and the La Sirena crew travel to the synth community and meet with Dr. Sung and its inhabitants. At first they're welcomed, but when Sutra, another version of Soji and Daj, learns of the Romulan invasion force which is soon to arrive, she works with Narek to trick the other synthetics to turn on their human allies. Sutra convinces the other synths that Picard and La Sirena will also see them deactivated due to the ban. Dr. Sung learns of Sutra's betrayal and helps Dr. Jurati to free Picard from capture so that he can stop the Romulan army. Whilst Rios, Raffi and Elnor work to stop Soji from activating a beacon which will contact a distant synthetic lifeform, 7 fights Naresa on the cube. Picard and Jurati pilot La Sirena and attempt to take on the Romulan warbirds single-handedly. With Picard's health worsening by the second, all hope seems lost when a Federation fleet arrives under the command of Captain Riker. The Romulans are forced to retreat, and Picard shares an emotional thank you with his former First Officer. Succumbing to his illness, Picard passes away in the arms of Raffi and his friends, leaving them to mourn his incredible loss to the galaxy. A new piece falls on Coppelius, but Jurati and Sung have a plan. On another plane, Picard meets with the consciousness of Data, and the two discuss their very human morality. Data informs Picard that his friends have been able to save him, and he awakens in a new, synthetic body. The group explains that he has none of the abilities of the other synths, and that he will simply live out his days as normal in this synthetic body. With one final duty to fulfill, Picard once again mourns the loss of Data as they deactivate his consciousness and allow him a human death. The crew of La Sirena reunites on board the ship, and the series ends with Picard's legendary catchphrase, "Engage." And that brings us to the end of Star Trek Picard Season 1, so I am now pretty stoked for the beginning of Season 2, which, as I said at the top of this video, it returns in North America on Paramount Plus on the 3rd of March, and will return here in the UK via Prime Video on Friday the 4th of March. If there's any other Star Trek series that you'd like us to recap, there'll be a Season 3 of Lower Decks coming this summer, so maybe you want us to recap what happened in Season 2, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye! Thanks for watching, Super Friends. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button just down below and hit the bell so that you can get notified whenever we release brand new videos. In fact, there's 2 more waiting for you to watch right here below. So what are you waiting for? Why not click play?